Resurrection is a promised prophecy to persecuted people, and women are our best guiding light. Black women are our best guiding light. Some black women were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the Younger, and of Joseph and of Solomon. In Galilee, these women had followed him and cared for his needs. Many other women who had come up to him to Jerusalem were there. I'd like to posit that the story about crucifixion and about resurrection is as much about the goodness and the good news of an empty tomb as it is about the witnesses who watched in silence or weepy or were aggravated or angry in protest and yet were determined to be in the movement alongside him till the end.
So the death and resurrection of Jesus is one thing, but as important, it's just as much about that as it is his followers who are about his movement. The resurrection is a prophetic promise to the persecuted, and the death and resurrection of Jesus is as much about whatever that is as it is about participating in this movement. He's putting them on equal footing.
This is where, and we talked about this, folks, right before we filmed, because Pritchett puts together the live stream, and so he's showing me these clips. And I only listened to each one of them once, but this one, I'm not like, we're on the other side of the table now. Like where you're saying, no, it's clear to me that he means X by this. It seems to me what you're saying is, it's clear to you that what he means is what happened at Calvary and the resurrection and all of that was as much, he says it awkwardly anyway, it's as much about the empty tomb and all of that as it is about
being with the movement till the end.
Today? Is that what being like an activist? Well, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because remember.
Because it's activism is
remember,
gospel.
Salvation is faith. It's God snatched defeat from death, and it's the proclamation, the black proclamation of the resurrection. Salvation is faith and Jesus' ministerial vision that led him to the cross in the first place, right? And salvation is faith in that God, you know, when he raised Jesus from the dead, vindicates that ministerial vision. And so the reason why I'm telling you that maybe it's, you know, maybe you can make that innocent is the Cone quote that we read where he affirmed Dolores Williams' statement about, well, suffering, there's no value in that, right? These theories of atonement that Jesus died for our sin. Get rid of that because
it's really it's really emblematic or something.
Yeah, this man is well read. Okay, I've listened to the full sermons. He's got quotes for days. He quotes scholars, all and authors and all of that stuff. So I am absolutely certain he's read, the cross and the lynching tree. He's read a black liberation theology. He's read the God of the Oppressed. He's read Cone. And so if you look at that quote from Cone about what the resurrection represents, that's why he's saying that the death and resurrection of Jesus is what's as important as it is our participation to the end in this movement, because the resurrection...
And that movement doesn't mean Christianity as evangelicals conceive of it.
Absolutely not.
Or Catholics conceive of it.
Absolutely not.
It means
solidarity with the oppressed in opposition, sometimes violent opposition even, any means necessary, against the oppressor. And so that's why he says resurrection is a prophetic promise to the persecuted people. And that's why it's as important to be a participant in the movement like those women who were with him to the end as it was for Jesus to die and rise from the dead. Now, I didn't find any of that stuff about activism and, resurrection being of first importance in 1 Corinthians 15.
Right.
But he says that it's as important. And that's why I quoted Cone earlier, because I wanted everyone to have the context of why he would say something like the death and resurrection, the empty tomb is as much about the death and resurrection of Jesus as it is about participating in the movement. So that's why I was trying to help explain.
No, I got, and this goes right back to the whole idea about, if you're wrong about Jesus, it doesn't matter what you're right about. And if you're changing the gospel or the gospel message, that is dangerous business, because you can cut out the power source. You can cut out what makes it so incredible that Calvary did matter. It mattered to the human race because an understanding of atonement theory is correct. And it's not just, well, I don't want to say that they're saying it's just emblematic, but to the extent that they're saying that, it's far more than that.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Let's see.
Super chat.
Yeah, there was a super chat.
From Bill. Every time I hear Bilbo Baggins, unfortunately, I should think of Tolkien, right?
What do you think of?
Leonard Nimoy's ridiculous song.
He has a song about Bilbo Baggins?
You've never heard?
No. I've never heard Leonard Nimoy's song about
Oh my gosh.
Unless it was used in
That's
the
exactly,
PBS publication.
As soon as the stream ends, we're going to YouTube and you have to watch this.
And you do too.
I've seen it.
No, them. Okay.